When I joined the faculty at Ivey in 2001, I was primarily hired to teach strategy, and I was allowed to do a little entrepreneurship elective on the side. There was one other faculty member in the same position. I've often said that one of my most valuable contributions to Ivey was recruiting Eric Morris from the University of Victoria.
Larry Tapp basically said, we want you to come and build an entrepreneurship program of note. And that was the quote at the time, which was great.
When Eric joined our team, we started to have some critical mass. We were then able to introduce more courses and attract the interest of more faculty into entrepreneurship. Next came the inclusion of doctoral students. Once they started doing research, that enabled us to further attract faculty and add even more courses. So that really got the ball rolling and led to the development of a really robust ecosystem around entrepreneurship teaching and research at the school.
I came in, we had a small budget that ended basically the day I got here from a couple of donors. And we had to go raise money to get things going. We started small. I was the first full-time faculty member in entrepreneurship, but that was the beginning of it.
When I was working with Dean Carol Stevenson, talking about some of my experiences, and she said, you got to meet Eric, he's heading up our entrepreneur stuff. And Eric asked me, what did Ivey do for you as an entrepreneur? Because he was doing a marketing campaign. And I said, nothing. And he didn't like that answer, but he questioned me, didn't I have fun at Ivey? And I said it was a fantastic experience. But recognize in the 80s, we never talked about entrepreneurship. Every case we had, we were the CEO, and you had all the information and pie charts segmented, and you just made decisions. And I said, that's not what it was like as an entrepreneur. So of course, Eric said, well, why don't you come in and start talking to students and sharing some of your thoughts? So I began to teach a course, leading family businesses and eventually entrepreneurial finance. And I found the engagement with the school, the transition was already starting in those days.
Over the past decade, more than 2,500 students have completed the New Venture stream at Ivey. Over 500 students have completed the Certificate in Entrepreneurship. Furthermore, more than 600 of Canada's top entrepreneurs have graduated from the Quantum Shift program, and we've played host to some of the largest international research conferences in the field.
When I went through the MBA, which was from 2004 to 2006, there were actually not too many entrepreneurial services. There was the start of the entrepreneurship sort of group, and one of the elements to do was the MVP, and it was a no-brainer for me.
So this is early 2000. We created something called the New Venture Project, and unfortunately the school hadn't caught up to how enthusiastic our faculty and students had become. They gave us no classroom time. They gave us no classrooms. So it was like a secret society for a while that we would meet in the evening, and I would organize the teams, and we would try and get friends to come in to be executives in residence, which we would then call entrepreneurs in residence because we had to fit the school model. And over time, the students started to have fun with this. And so the school had to respond and to react.
When I was CEO of Chartwell Retirement Residence, a company that I founded, asked me to come on the Pierre Morissette Institute for Entrepreneurism about, as you say, maybe over 10 years ago. I was delighted to participate. And ever since then, every time someone from Ivey asked me to do something, I always say yes.
So it was really rewarding. I felt myself kind of newly energized about business in general and the possibilities of entrepreneurship, and also thrilled to see the work that Ivey's doing in the entrepreneurial space.
With the growing interest of our students, the generosity and passion of our alums, and the dedication of our innovative faculty, the Pierre L. Morissette Institute for Entrepreneurship has established itself as a global leader in entrepreneurship education, research, and practitioner learning.
When I arrived in 2002, there was an advisory board already in place, and we had some turnover, and as we got going and we were building and we were doing some different things, and the makeup needed to change just a little bit. But David Anion was the chair of the advisory board at the time. And David, I remember him coming and saying, there's this gentleman, he runs the Weather Network. I've met him on the golf course and a couple of other places, and you really ought to get to know him. I think he'd like to get back involved with the school. It's been many years, and why don't we have a lunch, or let's set something up. And that was how I met Pierre, was through David Anion, and that was really the beginning of something. He was passionate about entrepreneurship from the first time I met him.
Pierre has brought and demonstrated not only financial support, but emotional support, intellectual support of Ivey over many, many years. And that has made a great deal of difference, giving people the confidence they need and the training and the fundamental tools they need to succeed as entrepreneurs.
And so Pierre and David and a couple of other of our members got together and started working on a strategy. Well, what does the strategy for the Institute really need to look like over the next 5 years to grow something really special here?
Our board wouldn't have been as enthusiastic though without the guiding light of Pierre. And I speak to it because he was so quiet in meetings. That's one of the effective leadership skills that he has, because he listens to what I was presenting, to what a Larry Plummer was presenting, to what some of our staff people would present. And all the entrepreneurs in the room, as you know, they're used to running their own show, so everyone has an opinion. And all of our committees and advisors would give their thoughts, and at the end of the meeting, Pierre would quietly start and lay out his vision and say, here's what I think, and wouldn't it be nice if we were recognized as such and such? And he would give us those really high goals to say, wouldn't it be nice if we achieved that?
And as we went, by the end, I think he really committed to entrepreneurship at Ivey, and that's when the naming came about and the large and very generous gift from Pierre.
It would be hard for me to think of somebody who's been more important to Canadian business leadership than Pierre.
You know, Pierre himself has lived that entrepreneurial dream, and he's taken great and daring steps as an entrepreneur, and it's worked out tremendously well for him. I'm very proud of the relationship I've had with Pierre.
There's no businessman in this country that can't learn from Pierre.
Today, we have more than a dozen courses offered across each degree program, $100,000 worth of scholarships to support student entrepreneurs, a variety of entrepreneurial internship opportunities, and legitimate pathways to practice for those who want to take their ideas into the real world. And we are excited for what the future holds.
Some of the best entrepreneurs and coolest people I've met have been through participating and working with them, or by interviewing them for NVP, or picking their brain for some advice for a project that I was working on.
It's the imagination and being bold enough to dream, to go where others may not go naturally. It is born of confidence, but it's also born of training and that ability to see the larger picture and to paint a compelling destination for people, and then carrying other people with you achieve results.
Resilience and grit is something that you learn as an entrepreneur, but it's also, a positivity of opportunity recognition, of looking forward, that I think is so critical. That agile kind of mentality, well, let's test things, let's try it, let's move forward. There's so much uncertainty, everybody's going to have that kind of mindset, that entrepreneurial thinking, and I think that's what's important for more and more students today, is that they get that education.
This is the best time to build those authentic relationships and really create a network that'll benefit you in the future.